Hi, my name is Els van der Horst. I'm from Conscious Being, and I like to address the topic of communication. Communication, very specific, communication between me and my children, and we live in 3 different countries for a long time now, and it's hard sometimes. It used to be hard to get everybody together, to make a call a specific time, to meet each other, or to just even, there's time differences, there's other schedules, work schedules, life schedules. So it was always an issue. And in 2019, I came up with an idea. And that idea was born out of necessity. My then husband, now late husband, was very ill, and it looked like he would pass away at at a certain moment. And I wanted my kids to have a good communication with him. They loved him dearly, and they couldn't come over at that time. And so I started a Zoom call. A Zoom call on a very specific time, and that Zoom call was always there every week. And it was lovely, lovely, lovely. I remember that time when my husband was sick, and we would all come together and we would talk about everything, and it was great. And then COVID hit, and my husband died, and I kept that line open, and that line stayed open until now. It's still open. And there was a time when I thought, oh, maybe it's too much for my kids to have to show up always on that specific time. And not everybody has to show up. We don't have to show up. But to have that line and to have that specific time. And it's actually my children that ask me to keep that line open. And we do that. And it's become like a very valuable, large treasure in all of our lives. We know about each other. We communicate. We laugh. We do fun stuff. We do the difficult stuff. We have grandchildren as well, so they show up, and it's a really valuable, precious time. And sometimes there's just one, sometimes everybody's here, sometimes we're a large gathering, sometimes it's tiny. It's always valuable, always valuable. Whether we speak about something specific, keep it very general, whether we keep it light, or whether really difficult things need to address. And then something showed up like a month ago, and it was hard. It was one of my kids went through hard time and had a difficult time communicating that in an appropriate way, let me just say it like that. And then my two other kids, they interfered. And that reminded me of what I started when they were small children. We started after my divorce, and my kids were real small, and things needed to be addressed, like chores, like who's doing the dishes and homework, things like that. What do we eat? And I started this other lifeline. We started to have like little meetings every week, twice a week. And we rotated leadership, which was very interesting in itself, but I don't want to address that at this moment. And then we brought up like 2 or 3 little topics and then kept it short. And it helped. It helped hugely. And in that time, we've learned to listen to each other by doing those meetings. And we did that for quite a few years. When this difficult topic showed up, like a month ago, my kids instinctively still knew how to do that. And we could call each other out on the way we were communicating. And because one of the things we've learned in the past is to listen to each other, to give each other space, not to be mean about what the other person's opinion is, even if we don't agree with it, and to really have an open ear and an open heart. And so that part is still in place as well. And it's been a lifeline, and I'm super grateful for it. And that's all I wanted to share for today.